The following programming is sponsored by Mark J. Bernstein. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Entrepreneur, author, and financial consultant Mark Bernstein helps high-performing entrepreneurial business owners create a vision for the future and follow through on their goals and intentions. Ange Honorato is a business growth strategist who blends psychology and business together to create conscious leaders and business owners who impact the world. Founders Forum is a radio show podcast sharing the real stories behind entrepreneurship as founders discover more about themselves while providing valuable lessons and some fun and entertainment for you. Now, here's Mark and Ange.
Good morning, America. How are you? And it's always sunny in Philadelphia, at least today it is. Ange, any more cliches I can throw out there before we get going? Anyway, it is a beautiful day after
something new.
I know we've had some dismal spring weather, but today is a beautiful day. And you may be listening to us who knows when, who knows where, what country, what kind of weather you're having, but it's always morning because morning is a very positive time. So wishing you a happy morning, whatever you're doing. So a topic of the day I think is very appropriate in light of our guest, who I'll introduce in a couple of minutes, is healthcare. And a couple of things occurred to me over the last few days. One is I read a copy, I think it's last month's, I don't think it's current month, of Philadelphia Magazine. And the title, the cover page said, "Your doctor will see you, ... eventually." And so we know that's an issue with healthcare in America. It seems to be a big one in Philadelphia, which is a big healthcare city, by the way. It also is some other. I was at a conference yesterday at the Sattel Institute, which is businesses getting together with nonprofits to talk about corporate responsibility. So the whole topic was AI, and a lot of the topic was AI in healthcare. One of the guys on the stage, one of the panelists, is a big guy in healthcare and AI. So there's that. There's also the fact that I saw on one of the morning news shows recently, they talked about that we have the most expensive healthcare system in the world, but mediocre quality at best compared to the rest of the world. So we got a lot of moving parts going on with healthcare in this country and around the world. So Ange, I wanted to ask you first your take on this. I know you have a couple things you've been thinking about, and then I want to get Ryan in here, and then I'll tell you who Ryan is right after that. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm excited to speak with Ryan today because I had a situation a couple days ago where I was looking something up in Google, as we do, right, for about symptoms of something. And, you know, it's always a danger to kind of self-diagnose, but I wanted just some basic information about something. And what comes up now in Google is the AI answer first in purple. And I said, this doesn't sound right. So I went further and I went on the links for like WebMD and actual links that Google brought me to. And the answers were complete opposite, a 180 opposite answer for what the AI, which was the very first thing that pops up. And so, you know, right away I kind of grinned and I thought, well, here we go. How many people are going to be going down rabbit holes of very false information?
It's a big,
and where do we go with this? So yeah, it's an experience. So excited to hear Ryan's thoughts on this as well. I know we're going to dive deeper into that, but great topic to start the call with.
Thank you. Ryan, I know you have some thoughts. You're doing some work in Japan, and let's hear your thoughts on the current state of healthcare.
Well, first I want to say thank you very much for having me on here, Mark and Ange.
Our
This
pleasure.
is great. We are in the birthplace of America. I mean, Philly. This is awesome, isn't it? And as they say, it's always sunny in Philly. At least it is today. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
I think healthcare needs a little bit of help. That's what I think. And I think there's a lot of really smart people out there that are willing to really push the ball forward and start getting into a proactive thought process. So, you know, that's my quick 2 cents on healthcare.
So you see it's moving in a positive direction because of those conversations.
I do, in a lot of ways, because we can't keep on doing what we're doing. We need to figure out a way to have health at home and have better outcomes, because the reality is life is all about living, whether it's for you, whether it's me, whether it's Angie, whether it's Angie's dog. It's all about living and how do we have our best possible life.
You reminded me of something else because we're going to talk about apps a little bit too, because you have one, and we've had a number of people on here with healthcare related apps. But I read something else this past week about something that's opening. I have an MDVIP doctor concierge.
Okay.
Shouldn't say this on the radio, but I'm thinking of changing doctors in case my doctor's listening.
Uh-oh.
But there's a new thing, and I don't remember the name of it, but it's something about a pod. And they actually have a pod you go to in the King of Prussia Mall. King of Prussia is the second largest shopping center in America. And they're putting it in the mall, and you go into a pod, and you visit with your doctor there, but you do a lot of things in the pod. It does all kinds of advanced scanning and tests, all kinds of tests. And then you have an app, and you choose the various apps that can all link together depending on what it is you're trying to look at and what your challenges and what your goals are and all that kind of thing. And the theory is, the doctor who's there, I was very impressed with her. She was the one that, I think she's the one that is going to be stationed there. They had a video interview with her. And she basically said, the more information we have in advance, you don't have to come out and fill out all these forms. I mean, I just, as a doctor the other day, and I spent, 20 minutes filling out forms. They already have all your information. They have all your diagnostics before you come in, and they can really focus on your care. So that's one positive thing I see. If it works, I think they're like the third office that's opened in the country. If it works, I think they'll, I don't remember the name of it, but I saw it on Facebook, so I know I'm going to see it again later today.
Right.
So it's going to show up again. So, but anyway, that's a positive thing. So we'll see where it's going, but I'm hoping that technology could be a big source of it, and I know you are too. So
it will be, definitely.
So having said that, Ryan Hurd is also called the smart guy. So he's got a lot of technology background. And he's founder of Caregiver Smart Solutions, which is a simple and effective way to know your loved one is okay. And I have to tell you, and we've talked a couple of times now, and I have a 91-year-old mom, and we're talking about this because right now she's wearing one of those alert necklaces, and I don't think that's a foolproof solution by any stretch of the imagination. So we're going to hear what Ryan has to say. And he's also an accomplished author, serial entrepreneur, patent holder, TEDx speaker who's made a name for himself in the world of smart technology. However, his passion, and we'll hear the story why, his passion for this field goes beyond professional accolades. As a caregiver to his father, Ryan has firsthand experience of the challenges that caregivers face every day. So, and he's now the founder, as I said, of Caregiver Smart Solutions, a simple and effective way to know your loved ones are okay. So welcome, Ryan, officially.
Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.
Tell us first about where you came from. I know you're from near Pompton Plains, New Jersey. Okay, I'm going to add this now. I can't wait. So he is also the mayor of Pequannock.
Yes, it's Pequannock, New Jersey.
Pequannock. I was pretty close.
Yeah.
New Jersey. I know it's near Pompton Plains, and I know Pompton Plains. I know that beautiful part of New Jersey, by the way.
It's actually the same town, and Pequannock, the township of Pequannock, predates America. So we have a bunch of history. Everybody's gone through our town.
Very interesting.
George Washington, the French, and so much more. It's a great little town.
Well, we'll have a competition.
Beautiful.
I grew up in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, not far from here. It's where the Pilgrims met, and George Washington, everybody came through there as well. So we'll have a chat about that.
I think George has been all over the place, I got to tell you.
George slept around because he slept everywhere. So George slept around, I guess. So anyway, so tell me about your background, your education, because I know you have a technical education, and how the business came about.
Well, I am a Jersey boy, 100% born and bred. Northern New Jersey, New York was my...
Ange likes that. Well, she's a Jersey girl, so...
Excellent. I knew I had something
born
in
and bred
common
North
with
Jersey,
Ange.
yes.
There you go. Jersey rocks. I love you, Philly, but,
Likewise. I feel the same about Jersey, but I'm a Philly boy. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, I grew up, my parents were great. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, which is probably where I got the bug from. But like anybody else, I grew up and I got to the end of college, and I was basically doing two things. I was cooking and I was dealing with technology. Or at the end of high school, I was kind of asking myself, what should I do? So I actually went to culinary school. And then from that point, I actually dropped out and started my first business because of this entrepreneur bug. And from there, life has changed.
By the way, another introduction. We had a guy here a couple weeks ago, Dave Kirshner, who has, I think it's called I forget the name of his company, so I don't want to do it off. It's his initials, Premier Catering. So he does really
Okay.
high-end events, and he has a whole bunch of chefs that, it's not a great life working as a chef in a restaurant. So these guys work on their own time for private events, and he's got a slew of them, and he matches them up with the events and that kind of thing. So interesting business. So.
It's a great industry when you're young.
Right, right. Well, that's what he got into this business because he started having a family and he wants to work those kind of hours and those conditions after a certain period.
Yeah,
of
you're
time.
always working during holidays and stuff.
Yep. So anyway, technology kind of took over, I think.
I've always been interested in technology. Started in the 80s. And Angie, the 80s were great. I know you're still very young, but I got to tell you, the 80s were phenomenal.
Bless you.
Really likes you now.
But those were the
Exactly,
days of...
especially the 80s in Jersey. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, you're talking
I spent
about...
a lot of my 80s in New Jersey, too. Not my 80s, the 80s, but probably a couple years older than
Mark,
you
I was going to say, you really don't look that old, but
there you go.
I'll leave it there.
I like you now, too, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, the 80s were great. It was all about cars, cruising the Jersey Shore. It was wonderful. And I was into technology, car audio, and then from there it went into larger audio systems, and from there it went into other types of technology. So for the past 30 years, I've been in smart home, IoT, that kind of technology. I actually wrote the book on it called Join the Smart Home Revolution. And quite frankly, my life was great. I was doing presentations for all different types of company. Google, National Home Builders Association, Kitchen and Bath Association, you name it. It was awesome. Then unfortunately, my father, who is a Vietnam vet, he got cancer. And if that's not bad enough, it's how do you deal with the chemo treatments? Because, being a Vietnam vet, he's a proud man. And like anybody else, I'm going to ask him how he's doing, and he's always going to tell me he's fine because, he's concerned about me. He doesn't want me worrying about him. But my problem is I didn't know when he's coming home from his chemo treatments, I didn't know. Is he getting up in the morning? Is he eating? Was he up all night, maybe throwing up? Is he taking his medication for neuropathy or worse? Did he fall? So like anybody else, I'm known as Ryan Hurd, the smart guy. I should be able to find something. And, that wearable.
How smart were you, Ryan?
Obviously, I realized I was pretty dumb because I couldn't find anything. Yeah.
Well, I'd say you're pretty smart because you end up inventing something, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, well, and it starts like anybody else. It's what do you do? So maybe we should do the pendant thing because, I've seen this. I've fallen and I can't get up. And maybe that's something. And, well, that was a no-no. He's not going to wear it. It's not for him. All right, next, cameras. Let's put some cameras in. Well, the reality of that is I really don't want to watch my father all day, nor does he want me to watch him. So that lasted 10 to 15 seconds. There was a dish towel over it. So from that point, it's what am I going to do? And I tried to kind of put something together from the smart home industry, but it just wasn't giving me the information I needed. So that's where Caregiver Smart Solutions was born. And I developed and patented this product that we're using today.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2018. And 2020 is when we released at CES. And that year, we actually were voted the hottest startup at CES.
Excellent. So you started a company. From our experience on the show and personal experience, entrepreneurship is not all a bed of roses. I'm sure you had some challenges along the way, correct?
Challenges, yes. It's like pushing a boulder up a rocky hill.
Right. So tell me about some of those.
Well, it's interesting because this is actually my fifth company. Mm-hmm. So I've had 2 successful exits, and I've had a couple that absolutely, totally burnt up. And the question is, what do you learn? Number one, you have to take the risk. Being an entrepreneur, I got to say, we're unique. That's probably a very good word for us. Or crazy. It's one of the two. I still don't know yet. But success is not linear. It's a combination of preparedness. It's a combination of luck. It's a combination of willingness. And that's how you move forward, as well as understanding changes and identifying, different things that are happening. Can you stitch information together? So that's where it really comes from. And it's exciting, but I have to tell you, there's a point at which, when you're an entrepreneur, success and failure look exactly the same. And I kind of articulate it as if I'm standing at the edge of a cliff, and I'm looking over that edge, and I have to jump. The zombies are coming, and they're going to eat me. I got to jump. And the question is,
I love it.
am I going to fall to my death, or am I going to soar? That's what entrepreneurs are. At some point, you just have to do it. You have to make that jump.
I love that. But by the way, I just want to say what you just said, because you put it we have lots of entrepreneurs on here. You should write a book about this because, listen, number one, you have to take the risk. Number two, success is not,
it's not linear.
It's not linear. That's the word I wrote. Yeah. And three, understand the changes. I know I'm in an industry, the financial industry is changing rapidly.
Right.
And I there's a lot of skill sets I don't have, but I think one of the things I'm good at is understanding the changes and looking ahead and seeing what's coming next. And I think that's a very important part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And it's two of the core things that I've really been focusing on lately is identifying trends. Is a trend your friend? And what is real? And what I mean by that is a lot of times we tend to get very stressed out. And that's whether it's in life or whether it's in business, whether it's in family. And a lot of times as humans, we tend to, I want to say overthink or think of the worst, but it hasn't happened yet. So we always have to keep ourselves in check and say, what is real? And what do I really have to focus on?
That is a great thought, and I agree with you because trends, they can trick you. So I got you on that. It's a great time to take a commercial break. We're going to come back and talk about the future.
Are you constantly worried about mom and dad living alone? Caregiver Smart Solutions can help you ease your concerns. As a family caregiver, you know the challenges and stress that come with ensuring your loved ones are safe and happy. Our innovative technology offers real-time updates on your loved one's well-being, giving you peace of mind in real time. With discreet monitoring and easy installation, you can stay one step ahead without intruding on their independence. From daily activities to emergency alerts, our system keeps you connected and informed. Join our supportive community and caregivers and let us lighten your load. Embrace your future caregiving today with Caregiver Smart Solutions. Visit caregiversmartsolutions.com and discover Core Kit, a simple, effective way to know your loved one is okay. Your loved ones deserve the best care, and so do you. Have peace of mind in real time.
So before we go back to the future vision, back to the future, or to the future, Ange, I know, wants to talk to you about, you have employees, and I know you have a motto, and you've got a culture around that. So Ange, why don't you take it from here?
Yeah. So Ryan, I love to talk about this topic because I really love investigating and discussing the people behind the work, right? The humans behind the work and anything. But you mentioned something earlier, and I'm very curious, not just how you're building the culture of your current company. I think you said you have about 30 employees today, but you also mentioned the other companies that you've had, that even the ones you've had exits with or the ones you didn't. How would you describe the culture that you're building today? Is it a similar kind of approach to your other companies, or is it different? Obviously, there's different markets, different products, but I'm curious from a leadership perspective, how do you orient how and the things behind how you build your cultures?
Well, Ange, I got to tell you, that's a great question. And as you're asking it, there's a couple of things that are going through my head. The past companies, they were a lot of fun. We had fun. Being in technology, I think, and IoT and smart home is a lot of fun, especially my first company, which was in car audio. I mean, come on, you're 17, 18 years old, you're cruising around, life was good, 80s were great, Jersey's even better. Of course, I love you, Philly, just so you know. But one of the main
Ever the
differences...
politician. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that.
You're very welcome. One of the differences between my past companies and Caregiver Smart Solutions is sometimes in life there's a point where you can actually affect people's lives in a positive way. And it's one thing that I developed this to solve my own problem and my own family's problem. But when you start having customers and families that are using this, and they start calling you and thanking you because, their 96-year-old mother who lives down the street, now they'll they're not as worried, because they're always sitting on the edge of their seat, worried about mom or how their aunt is doing, which lives 3 states away and nobody's around. I think that changes things. And for Caregiver Smart Solutions, there's is a chance, and I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance, that we can actually change the world. And I'm not kidding, because we're doing what we do best, which is use technology, and yet we're able to help people. So we're actually on a million family mission. Our mission is to give 1 million families peace of mind in real time. And I have to tell you, the entire team is excited and executing on this mission.
That's amazing. I want to keep it moving because time is flying like it always does on this show. So tell me about, if this were May of 2027, and we're sitting here, the 3 of us are sitting here. Angela's not sitting here with us today, I should reveal, but we're talking 3 years from now. And we're looking back on the last 3 years. What would have to happen in your life, Ryan, for you to feel that was a successful 3-year period in your life, business-wise, personally, perhaps, maybe quantic-wise? What does that look like for you?
Well, first, my family is still healthy. Obviously, that is the most important thing. My beautiful wife, my 3 wonderful kids. Outside of that, have we accomplished that mission, or how close are we to that mission? That is the ultimate goal. Are we helping families? Are we affecting them? And to do that, we need that exposure, and we need that team. We need to keep on building our team, and we need to talk to people like Mark and Ange and help us get the word out, because that's how we're going to fulfill this mission and really help these people. Because, as we're getting older, we need a little more help, and we can use technology to help us. And this is a perfect way that we can take care of that.
What you've had challenges in the past, we talked about that. What kind of challenges are ahead in terms of reaching your million family mission?
What isn't a challenge?
Right, I'm sure. I'm sure.
You could call it a challenge, or you could call it a test, because from everything you're going to learn something. Like Thomas Edison, he knows 1,000 ways a light bulb will not work, and yet it's the one way that it will.
There are no failures, only lessons, really, if you...
Yeah,
right, so.
and it's keeping that into focus. So what can we do? Does this work? We have to keep on thinking outside of the box. We have to keep thinking forward, and we have to keep testing and trying and keep on doing that. And for us, it's about solving the problem for the family caregiver and partnering with other companies that are best of breed that can help us solve those problems for those families.
By the way, we don't plug products, and if you're listening to the podcast, you'll hear a commercial for Caregiver Smart Solutions. But I will tell you, I'm looking at this for my own family and my mother, and I think it's a great need, and it fills a void because I don't think there are great solutions. So I haven't tested it yet. You're a truthful guy. I assume it's going to do what you say, but I love the concept, and it's something I think anyone who's in that position should take a look at it. So we talked about the challenges. So a couple closing thoughts, and maybe one of the closing round questions. Do you have one, Ange, you'd like to ask Ryan?
Yeah, well, I considering, sort of the serial entrepreneurial and the energy of a good Jersey boy. So I have to acknowledge
closing
that,
round. So
'cause
short
I'm a
questions.
Jersey
I just
girl,
have
we
to
have
tell you.
it. Yeah.
Short questions.
Now, this has to have context. Has to have context. So I'm asking, Ryan, where do you see this? Do you see yourself with another venture beyond this, or is this kind of the focus for the next, not just your future vision, but do you see yourself needing to start another company in addition to this as well?
Right now, I'm focused on Caregiver Smart Solutions, but I believe going forward, other ways of helping people. I'm very big on giving back. I love helping people. That's why I'm the mayor of my town, because I love my town. And how do we move the needle on a larger scale?
Love that. Well, that leads into, I'll give you the serious of the closing round questions, thoughts about your legacy. I think we led right into that. But
that's a good question. For me, you brought it up earlier, as a mayor, as a politician. I hate politicians. I got to tell you, I'm not a politician.
Right.
But, politics is not about me. It's about you. It's how have I helped you? And that's really the focus, whether it's for Caregiver Smart Solutions, whether it's for the Township of Pequannock, whether it's for my family. How or what can I do to help you make your life better, solve a problem, whatever that is. So I really hope that I'm doing the right thing, and that is going to be my legacy.
We don't get political here, but I do want to say a word in favor of our governor, Josh Shapiro, who I know pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very popular. I just saw polls. He's like 68% favoritism in these divided times.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a Democrat in a basically a purple state. And he is exactly what you say. When you meet him, it's all about, if you're talking to him, it's about you. It's not
Right.
about him. And it's like, what can we do for the people of Pennsylvania? And let's talk about him running for president. I don't know if that's in his plan, but a lot of people are talking about that because people are looking for somebody that's really concerned about what's happening in their lives.
Yeah, and if I could make a suggestion for anybody that is voting out there, the first question you should ask is, what have you done for me lately?
Right. Should be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No question about it. Some other things. I know you're a voracious reader.
Mm-hmm.
What did you figure out what book you're currently reading?
Yes. So I'm reading two books side by side.
Okay,
A business book, which is The Hard Thing About Hard Things.
Yep.
And the second book, I'm actually reading the Bible from front to back.
Wow. I've always wanted to try to do that. Haven't gotten the nerve to do the focus to do that. Say that again, the hard thing.
The Hard Thing About Hard Things.
About hard things.
And it's really about entrepreneurism. You know, as I said before, success is not linear. Everybody sees the end of the Jeff Bezos of the world and whatnot, but the beginning was him sitting in a garage selling books and had no idea if it was going to work. Same thing with Walt Disney.
Steve Jobs in the garage.
Yeah.
Building computers, same thing. What do you like to listen to music? We have about another minute.
I'll tell you what, I like to listen to music. I like all different kinds, but I have to be honest, I'm a little biased. I love listening to the Pequannock High School Marching Band.
Because your son is in it, I know.
Exactly.
Trumpet and French horn, if I
Yes,
recall.
sir.
Yeah, pretty
It's
good.
awesome.
Huh? Pretty good. I was a trombone player in the marching band.
It's so impressive.
Yes.
What these kids can do, it's so impressive.
I get it. And I'm like a rock and roll guy, and I have,
Yeah.
I like jazz. I like all kinds of things, but I still have a warm place in my heart for marching bands. There's no question about it. So, any other closing thoughts? We have about a half a minute. I'm going to throw another one at you real quick. If you could speak to your younger self, what advice would you give you?
Don't get frustrated. Keep moving forward. That's really the mantra. Just keep moving.
I love that. I don't know if you know this. I didn't give you my business card, but my company name in our financial services business is March, and our slogan is March Forward. So there you go.
Very
it's
true.
all about looking ahead. So listen, I think that's a great show, and I think we're ready to wrap up for today. So we appreciate you all coming here to listen to Founders Forum. Pretty soon you'll be seeing us in video as well. You can find us on all the streaming services as a podcast, all the major streaming services, and also on WWDB-AM's website in Philadelphia. Have a great day.
You enjoyed your time with Founders Forum today and you found value